Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. As always, I'm your host, The Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. So, I know what you want, what I've got, a controller confessional. So today's Thursday, day I'm filming this, and this morning a new trailer was released. And this is for a new God of War called God of War Ascension. Now this is a prequel to the existing God of War Trilogy. Okay, and a lot of people are crazy excited about this. You know, we're going back to Kratos, getting to his origins. Yeah, I'm sure the game will be great. I'm looking forward to it. Santa Monica is saying it's the most ambitious project they've ever done. But I'm still a little underwhelmed. Now, I knew Santa Monica wanted to go back to the God of War franchise, to do something else in it, but I thought maybe they would branch off. You know, you've got this great fictionalized version of the Greek mythology to play with. I thought maybe it'd be a new character, a new adventure, some new tragedy, a new tale to tell. Instead, we're going back. We're going back to see his beginnings. Well, we saw his beginnings. They were told to us in the existing trilogy. They went back and filled in his backstory. I don't need it again. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'll be a fun adventure. It'll be really cool. It'll be really bloody, really violent. There'll be boobs. It'll be great. But I still, I want more. And I just, it's something about franchises. They're so huge in this industry in particular. I mean, everything is about what's the next sequel to the next big franchise. You know, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, everything is all about the sequel. Those are the biggest sellers because they're a known factor. And this isn't just a games thing. This goes beyond that. It goes into movies. I mean, look at the highest selling movies. You've got stuff based on comic books, which are known quantities. Everybody knows Batman and Spider-Man already. Or they're big best-selling books like, Harry Potter and The Hunger Games. These are known things. They have a built-in fan base. But what bothers me is, when they come to a nice conclusion, they finish their story, which, trust me, they did with the third God of War, and yet we come back to it. And speaking of the king of bad prequels in movies, and that's really not the word I want to use right there, Star Wars. I mean, the original trilogy is arguably some of the best films ever created. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, 3 great movies. And then those prequels came along. And, okay, sure, they got better as they went along. But that's not saying much, because the first one was really bad words. Anyway, yeah. So I fear that. While I'm sure Santa Monica is not going to make that mistake, I can't guarantee it. I'm not in their studio. I'm not there. But it's the same people. There's not like a 20-year hiatus and a whole bunch of people that weren't working on it to begin with. This is, generally the same group of people that created the 3 brilliant games we've already seen in this franchise, just going and making a prequel. But, and it's not just a prequel problem. There are other games that have done this, that they finish their story, they seem to have put a nice bow on it, and yet we come back to it. The first finger I'm going to point is BioShock. Now, a lot of people really didn't like BioShock 2, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't a bad game. It just paled in comparison to the first BioShock, which had a great story, great characters. The setting, Rapture, was just phenomenal. One of my favorite games of all time. And then 2K said, no, we got to cash in on this and make another one, with or without Irrational. And it was okay. And that was the problem. There was no need to go back to Rapture. Their story was told. And I think they've proven with what they're working on now, BioShock Infinite, of taking that franchise to a completely different place. That artistry, that's what I'm talking about. When you take that concept, take it somewhere new. New characters, new story, new setting, still as phenomenal and great, at least so far from what we can tell, the game's not out yet, as that original BioShock. That's what I like to see. But there's other games that have done poorly with sequels. What about Assassin's Creed Revelations, okay? First Assassin's Creed, good game. Second Assassin's Creed, fantastic game. Then they announced Brotherhood, and we're like, well, we're going back to Ezio? Well, okay, and it ended up being a really great game, so we forgave them. But then they announced Revelations with Ezio again, and you played the game, it's really like a giant denouement for the whole story of Ezio, and that's terrible. That's not what we wanted. We wanted to move on. We felt like enough of that story with Ezio had been told. It was time to go to a different time period, a different character. Yes, still carry Desmond through it, that through line stays, but a different assassin. And we didn't get that. We're finally getting that with Assassin's Creed 3, set in America in the Civil War. But man, that third Ezio game was just really, you got to do this again. And that makes me think of some games maybe I have a fear of. One of these games I fear for, not fear of, fear for, is Halo 4, okay? First 3 Halo games told a great story, and they finished that story, the story of Master Chief, okay? Wonderful, people loved it. Then they go to Halo Reach, which was a great, brilliant game, kind of sort of a prequel, but not a direct prequel. Told the story of, the ill-fated team on planet Reach early in the war. So, is in the same universe, but brand new characters, brand new story, vaguely related specifically by an Easter egg to the original Halo trilogy. But now comes Halo 4, and they're showing off that there's Master Chief again. We're done with Master Chief. You've created this huge, awesome universe, this great war with these religious overtones, all these different battles that could take place, these different characters that could be involved in it, and it seems like we're going back to Master Chief again. Why would you do that? Because it's safe, because it's easy, because people love Master Chief. Here's the thing, people love Halo. They loved Reach. Reach sold really well, and it didn't have him in it. So you can get away from him. You could tell a brand new story, create a new trilogy. It makes me even fear for, Mass Effect. Mass Effect 3, they finished this story. Don't tell me, I haven't finished it yet. I don't know how it ends yet. I have nothing to complain about yet, therefore. But my point is, that story is done. But I look forward to them making another Mass Effect, focusing on a different character, a different adventure, a different story. Not Shepard, someone else. And that's what I wish they had done with this new God of War. And maybe that's where they'll go after God of War Ascension. I just hate to see this strive to make money, and I understand there's people who need to make livelihoods, but when that overrides the artistry, that need to be creative and go places you haven't gone before. So please, try to find the balance between those two. Off my soapbox, we'll see you next time.